back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Full time, family. What in the Francis 5000 Stipe Usman did we just watch? And still, UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic just defeated Francis Ngannou, the Predator, who looked a lot more like the prey in this fight tonight. I don't even know what we just watched. I'm going to keep this as respectful as possible, as I always try to, but I will say that was the most boring fight of the night that I watched personally by far. Now, Chael Sonnen and Rampage Jackson was on at the same time, and it's crazy because these competed for like most boring fight of the night, and they were the main events. That's crazy, bro. And y'all know me, man. I'm a person that it's not hard to impress me with the fight. Now, this fight was not boring because of Stipe Miocic or Stipe Usman, whatever you want to call him, for tonight. He dominated the fight, just like Kamaru Usman last weekend. But was it entertaining? No. You know who I blame for this fight? Herb Dean. What the fuck was this guy doing, just letting Stipe Miocic, who was dominating the fight? I'm completely fine, but Stipe Miocic on the ground was just trying to take the energy out of Francis. Against the cage was just holding him down, trying to take the... And Herb was like, alright, let's work. And then would let the shit go on for like another minute of cage time of Stipe just draining Francis. Now keep in mind, I picked Stipe Miocic to win this fight. I thought he was going to get the job done. I picked Daniel Cormier and Stipe and still. Hashtag and still. You guys know I picked Stipe. He looked great tonight. Did what he needed to do versus an opponent that's a knockout artist that is 20 pounds heavier. So congratulations to Stipe Miocic, who set the heavyweight title defense record tonight. Looked great. Shut down the hype train Francis Ngannou was. But there's so many things I could talk about. So let's get into it. Fucking... One thing I was thinking, me and the person I was watching the fight with, one of my boys, was like, yo, if Francis does lose this fight, it could set up Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. After the end of the fight, that is a fight I never in my life want to see. I do not want to see Francis versus Derek. That would literally remind me of Kimbo versus Dada. You remember how Kimbo and Dada both gassed out and one of them like had a fucking heart attack in the ring? If Francis Ngannou fought fucking Derek Lewis, bro, I'm a fan of both of them. It's not going to be pretty. They're both going to probably gas out unless there's a knockout in the first round. One of them niggas might pass out. They're both gassing out. One of them might pass out. That was just crazy, bro. And now, we got to be fair to Francis Ngannou. This was the biggest fight of his night. Knockout artist. He's never been to the 5th round in the UFC. First time doing that. But he looked like he was a little gassed at the end of the first round. 100%. That nigga looked like he had the wind taken out of his sails, leaving the first round, coming into the fight before the first round. This dude was sweating like he already had an energy dump or something, but it's all good. Francis Ngannou's a knockout artist. This was his toughest test to date. He's been knocking people out. Fast line to the title shot. He's definitely not experienced as the current champion, Stipe Miocic, and you could tell on the ground when he didn't know what he was doing to get out of the positions, as the commentators Joe Rogan and Dominic Cruz were explaining. They're like, he doesn't even know how to do this. He doesn't even know how to do this. And Joe Rogan was like, well, it kind of makes sense. He doesn't know how to do any of this, only training MMA for 5 years. But it doesn't change the fact that this fight was not very entertaining, man. I was more entertained by Tyron Woodley Wonderboy and Kamaru Usman Emil Mech than this performance. And I'm blaming Herb Dean because there were 3 or 4 probably separate times he could have separated the fight and just brought it back to a standing exchange, which Francis Ngannou, who probably still would have lost. But we probably could have saw Stipe Miocic knock this guy out if not for Herb Dean letting him just drain his energy for fucking 4 rounds straight. Holy smokes, man. That is not how I wanted to end this night. Great night of fights. Bellator 192. I haven't even did the video on Rampage and Chael yet. Chael Sonnen won the fight via unanimous decision. It looked like he might have humped Rampage's leg for the last 2 rounds. I didn't get to watch that fight because I was watching both main events at the same time, and there's no way I'm turning my head away from Stipe versus Francis. Don't blink. Now, I picked Stipe to win the fight. He did win the fight, and I'm happy, but I am not happy with what I just watched, man. And this is just a question I'm going to ask you guys. The crowd was all on Stipe's side. Is that why they weren't booing? But this fight was not entertaining. Usually you hear the crowd raining down boos when you got a boring fight. Now, let me let you know this. The guy I was watching the fight with said, no, I was entertained. If it was anybody's fault, it was Herb Dean's fault for not standing up the fight. Stipe Miocic, you know, he was doing his job, dominating the fight. And even Stipe and Joe Rogan did say, that's how you're supposed to fight somebody way bigger than you. I did what I had to do. And Joe Rogan said, that's the smartest way to fight Francis. But all I will say is it was not entertaining. Herb Dean, bro, Francis Ngannou was so tired going into the 4th round, and there were still moments where you're just like letting Stipe Miocic just drain his energy against the fence, no strikes, just holding his head down, putting his weight on him. He's already fucking on 0 energy, bro. Come on, let him stand up and knock him out. But it is what it is. Stipe Miocic retained this title to become the longest reigning defending UFC heavyweight champion in UFC history. It's looking like Cain Velasquez might be coming back, but I'm thinking we're going to get a Stipe Miocic Fabricio Verdum rematch next. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.